Okay, this is Gabe Ets-Hokin with City Bike Magazine. I ride motorcycles so you don't have to. And I am here with Terry Hershner. And Terry Hershner is actually a pretty historic guy, although you might not guess it by looking at him. He rode this 2012 0SZF9 from Orlando, Florida to Long Beach, California, and then he didn't stop there. We're now actually at Monroe Motors in San Francisco, California, Ducati and Triumph dealer, and they're generously allowing him to plug in so he can make it back to his hotel tonight. But this is a guy who rode 3,500 miles on an electric motorcycle in 6 days. Not something that I would have thought would have been possible even just 2 or 3 years ago. But tell us how you were able to do that, Terry.
Well, myself and my roommate Eden, who actually is over there, she and I live at a house in Orlando that's called the Off the Grid House. It's powered by solar and wind power, not connected to the electricity grid at all, even though it's in downtown Orlando. One of the small hiccups with having an electric vehicle, trying to be sustainable with that, and having a house that runs off solar power, is at nighttime when the sun's down, it's very difficult to charge an electric vehicle, because the battery capacity we have for our house is less than the battery capacity of a motorcycle. So I would find myself having an opportunity charge along the way, going to the University of Central Florida every day. So I wanted to figure out how to charge faster. So I took Zero's 4-charger upgrade kit, started with that, and mounted them all on the bike, but still I wanted to charge faster. I realized, for this vehicle to really be useful, you want to go out and ride, and you want to stop for 30 minutes and charge it back up. So I started looking into the battery pack. I used to build electric motorcycles myself, so I was not afraid to jump in and start tearing everything apart. I found a company out of Sacramento, California, actually only about an hour north of here, called Elcon Electric Conversions, and they make a gigantic 2,500 watt charger.
That's this thing here?
That's this gigantic charger here, Elcon. By mounting 2 of those together, programming a custom algorithm for it for this exact Zero battery pack, I was able to put all chargers in parallel and charge the bike in about an hour.
That's the second one hanging underneath?
This is a Delta Q under here. This is that's the stock one. This is another one I put on here, and then these are each 1 kilowatt. This is a true 2.5 kilowatts. These are actually just under 1. They're rated at 1. But so there's one here and there's one here. So these put out about the same as 3 Delta Qs. And on the trip across country, I actually carried a 3rd Delta Q in my backpack. And so when I go to a charging station, all these would plug into the J1772 port that you'll see on a Nissan Leaf, Chevy Volt, Tesla Roadster, any of the electric cars that are out there today. And that'll put out 7,200 watts. But they also have a level 1 port on all the charge stations. It's under a box that says 1 on it, and that has a regular outlet like you'd have in your house. So I would max out the J1772 port, charge faster than a Leaf or a Volt or a Tesla, but I'd also charge it faster because I'd use the level 1 port as well. And with everything going, I could charge it about 45 minutes.
You added the J1772 port.
That's right,
to this,
Although the
Zero model,
2013s
correct?
have one, right?
The 2013s have a CHAdeMO port, which is DC to DC fast charging.
Yeah,
If you
which
open
there aren't any CHAdeMO stations in California, I don't think yet.
If you open the little nose of a Nissan Leaf, it's got one of these ports on the left hand or on the right hand side, and it's got the CHAdeMO port on the left. And that's the standard that I guarantee in the next 12 months you're going to see those pop up everywhere. Okay. And that's going to allow a Leaf to charge in about a half hour. Basically, all the electric vehicles to charge real quick. We just have to have the stations.
Bottom line, 5 onboard chargers. How fast can you charge the battery?
I can charge it to about 90% in 45 minutes. So we're plugging in right now. You can see the low bar flashing. I just came from south of Oakland to get here, but the charging with one of these takes quite a while.
You almost didn't make it.
Almost did, but I've done this many times before. This isn't my first rodeo with.
How far have you had to push this bike?
I got 19,404 miles on it. Probably 80 of those are human powered.
Okay, well that's not a bad. Actually, my old Cafe Racer probably has more human-powered pushing miles.
I've run out of gas on gas bikes too, so it's and this is lighter than most of my R1s and everything were.
Yeah. So how much does it weigh in with all the chargers?
With all the chargers and everything, it's about 380 pounds. So
okay.
it's similar to a liter bike.
It's actually no, it's lighter than a liter bike. That's actually about what a 250 Ninja weighs full of gas.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
So this this seat here, or 300 inch, I should say. And then I see you've done a lot of. There's no body work left. You stripped that all off.
Stripped it all off. The bodywork for Zero, as of right now, unfortunately goes back to their heritage, which is dirt bikes, and it's actually like a backwards parachute riding down the road. If you glance at it, so it's a great styling, but for going top speed and so forth, it's not key to aerodynamics. So yeah, I made a custom seat here. The stock seat kept me about 4 inches higher. I literally wanted to get down on top of these bars right here to get out of the wind as much as possible.
And it can't be that comfortable, but it's okay because you're
It
only
is.
riding about an
I
hour
promise.
at a stretch.
I've let guys at bike shops sit on it and they're surprised. I'll let you sit on it then, but you'd be amazed. It helps you from sliding forward. There's extra padding here, and you got something to push against. The stock Zero seat is more of a banana seat, I guess you would say.
And I guess you put the bars lower for aerodynamics?
Yeah, you just loosen up these things here and you slide them down. I did that so I can get out of the wind more as well.
And then also you did the windscreen. And
so I got a little custom action going on here right now. I've got actually 2 windscreens mounted to each other. I'm testing out.
You also mounted a new controller. You were saying?
Yeah, this is a Sevcon size 6 controller. It puts out 660 amps. The stock Sevcon controller that's on the Zero is a size 4, puts out 420 amps. So it's more than 50% more amperage, which directly is related to the torque the back wheel can put out. So this thing is quite a rocket ship up to about 60 miles an hour. It's still fast after that, but it's extremely fast.
Wow.
Off the line.
Man, I really want to ride it.
You're more than happy to. Okay. Just take it out for a spin.
And then what other modification? So what's the new top speed? Because I know they did about 88, I think, stock is.
I actually, with the old controller, I got mine up to about 94. That's just recommended or average. If you get yourself in a good tuck, a good race position, put your legs in as tight as you can in the bike, you get up to about 94. Right now, I'd say it's between about 115 and 120.
Wow. Really
with all the saddlebags on, going across the Golden Gate Bridge, I actually hit 160 at a day.
106.
So, yeah, with giant saddlebags.
I wouldn't admit that on, that is.
There's actually,
you're being recorded.
That's
this is going on YouTube. So you went 106 kilometers an hour, right?
That's right.
With the highway patrol. Because they have no sense of humor about that kind of thing.
So yes.
All right. Right on.
And one of the other mods, I guess Eden was just pointed out.
Rear foot pegs.
Sometimes Eden and I when I first got the Zero, we got stuck at a concert one time and we had to take a bunch of people home. So I think we fit about 4 of us on this bike. And then after that I realized, you know what? Let me go ahead and extend the rear section. So I built an extra subframe for it. And so these are my pegs. This is our first passengers. This is our second passengers. And actually a third person can sit back here and just kind of hold on.
I don't know what to say about that.
It's been done before, has it not?
Okay. All right. So this is a very heavily modified bike, but what would you say to people who are like, oh, electric bikes will never replace gasoline bikes, and they just don't have they don't have the value, they don't have the range, they don't have the performance, you can't tour on them, like you can't commute on them, what good are they? What would you say to that guy?
I'll tell you, it's changing very, very rapidly. If you absolutely have to go more than 100 miles in a day, which when you come fresh off the charger at night, it'll do. Most of the time you can plug in at work, but if you want to go further than that, the new 2013s are going to go 40 miles further. They're going to go 140 miles this year. The technology is just getting better at an exponential rate where gas bikes get a little better every year, but not at the same rate. I say within 2 years, we're going to be at parity. And then after that, on the racetrack already, that's what I say. The new the bikes racing, the TTX GP, they're hitting speeds and they're actually just as fast as the GSXR 1000 going down the straightaway and so forth. So I'd say in a year, the race bikes will be faster, and in 2 to 3 years, we'll see faster bikes on the street.
Terry, this was actually used to race too, wasn't it?
Yeah, this
by his
actually
friend
very
Jeremiah
bike
Johnson.
raced and placed 4th in the world at the World Championship Final for the TTX GP. I didn't race it. Jeremiah Johnson, a pro AMA racer, he actually raced this bike at Daytona. He had his race bike, ran into a small issue with a controller, and I had ridden this there to kind of assist with him, and they allowed him to use this as a backup bike, and it placed 4th amazingly, with the upgraded controller, obviously.
All right, well, it's exciting times. Usually when we end one of these videos, I start the motor up. But but there's nothing to hear.
I'll tell you what, we'll do this real quick. I'll plug in here.
Kind of sounds like phew.
All right, Terry.
Here we go.
All right, this has been Gabe Ets-Hokin with citybike.com.